Hi, I wanted to talk for a minute about what I've noticed since the pandemic, and I've noticed a lot more of a new type of form of discrimination, and discrimination is COVID-19 discrimination. And so, what I've noticed, and here I'm in Los Angeles of California, is that people will look at people funny. um, they might even argue with you or get really feisty with you in the grocery store if they think that you're taking too long in an aisle, or if you're looking at an item, they want to look at that item. And they get feisty because they assume that you're in their space and you can't move if fast enough, and they don't want to get close to you, so they want you to hurry up and go. There's also been where you're not even really that close to people and they just give you the stink eye, such as you see this young lady here. And then some people will get into arguments, like you see the young man in the middle. And then it's crazy because the person who may actually have the virus may not even be, saying anything. They may be around them, but the person you're arguing with may not be the one you got to worry about. It's the one that is standing around you all, and they're not saying anything, and they may have the virus. They could be positive. We don't know. My point is we don't know who has it, and then they say that some people are asymptomatic, or they don't know they have it, or maybe they know they have it and they're in denial for whatever the reasons. And so what I've noticed, I was thinking about it early this morning, is that there's a lot of people. The numbers are rising here in California, Los Angeles, of people that are infected with this. There's also a form of discrimination is traveler discrimination. Like if you go somewhere, people will hold you longer, or they don't want you around them in it too close of a proximity. They treat you like you're an outsider, um, a real outsider. Not only that, you come from another city, state, or town, or country, but they automatically assume you have the virus. um, then racism kind of gets meshed in there, depending on whom you're dealing with. Um, Even whether you look like you have money or not. Um, if let's say, if they assume you don't have the money or you look poor to them, they might assume that you might be infected. So they treat you a certain way, or they talk to you really snobby, so you can get that. They may not even know what your economic situation is. You could be doing well, but you're just trying to get through the day like everybody else. But the thing is there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anger, a lot of frustration around this. There's also racism involved in this as well. And so it has gotten really far out of control. And so what I've discovered is that I believe that some people will use this as another tool or form of discrimination. They'll also use racism in this as well to pick on groups of people and assume that they are infected. Um, and we've seen that even with how some people will treat Asian people. They'll assume automatically that they come from a certain place of origin of where the first outbreak occurred in Wuhan, and they'll assume that everybody that they see or they think is Asian must be infected. And then sometimes you'll get the reverse, where you'll see people who are African American and maybe they don't have a lot, or you're assuming they don't have a lot. You assume they're infected, or people who maybe they're doing well economically, and they look at another person, they could be from the same culture, but they assume because they're doing well economically, you don't look like you come from their same side of town, so you must be infected. And so these are the types of things that I've been noticing, that this discrimination and this racism and the classism is evolving into the COVID-19 world that we're living in now. And so that is what is really getting crazy. The other thing is our numbers are growing amid the George Floyd protests and all of the things that are really upheavals that have happened thus far. It just really is coming to a breaking point, a pivotal time where people have said they've had enough. And so now we are coming to a time where people are more vocal, they're more militant, they're more tired, they're more wanting their voices heard. And you even have people that have the attitude of by any means necessary. I will tell you this, what I've learned is that because of the growing numbers of the people that are unemployed, the fear that is going on out there, and I feel there's going to be more protests and uprisings. There is going to be something huge that is going to happen outside of all of this, coupled with the COVID-19. I've also learned that I know I was reading this, but it said that there might be some situations where people will be forced to go to the hospital if they're infected. I read that, and it was somewhere in an article, and I said that sounds like the whole world is starting to change and evolve into something a little more terrifying than what I had normally thought. Um, Also, the evictions that are about to come in a huge tsunami of evictions because of the pandemic has caused people to be deprived of just the natural, normal livelihood of having a place to stay and the comfort of their own home. You know, there have already been an economic disadvantage of, living below the poverty line, but now the pandemic comes and you can't afford your place, but now you're hanging on, just getting by, and now you just couldn't do it because your job laid you off during the pandemic. They're expecting that money back. The moratoriums will soon come to an end at some point, and they are requiring people to go back to work. So what does that mean? Do you need, just like you drug test people to make sure that they're not on drugs, do you need people to prove that they're not positive for COVID-19? This is something I wanted to bring up again, that it could go down like that, where in order for you to work somewhere, you might have to get tested so that they may use the narrative that we want to keep our employees and our customers safe from people who are sick. And so these are things that I don't think people have really thought about, but it targets and hurts the most vulnerable, which are black and brown people and people in between that are just poor and just can't afford the means of living. We're getting by. And so this is going to affect a great number of people. And I don't think the news is saying anything about this. And so there's this COVID-19 discrimination going on. And there's also going to be forced vaccinations. In order for your kid to go to school, your kid's going to have to be vaccinated. And they're going to have something showing that they're free, disease free. And so it's coming. So prepare for this. Some parents already have a problem with vaccinating their kids. This was something before the pandemic, and so it is coming in full throttle. So this is not over by a long shot. You have all these people protesting, all these people wanting to make change. They want to see a new tomorrow. Well, with the homelessness that's going to grow from the unemployment and people who couldn't pay their rent, and there already were homelessness going on here in Los Angeles County. There's other cities, San Francisco, Seattle, there's some other ones to name a few, that have had to deal with homelessness. That number is going to skyrocket as well. And so I don't think people know where this is going, but I see something that is not good. and it could get a lot worse with the violence that's going to take place as well because of the people not having a home for their children and their family. But also, what I'm noticing is I'll be honest with you. They mentioned that Donald Trump went to a bunker because that there was a protest and someone breached the fence. I don't believe he went to a bunker because of a protester or a few protesters, even if it was 20 protesters. I believe he went to a bunker because there was more than protesters that threatened Donald Trump. And so something big is going down. Donald Trump's life has been threatened, and I believe it has been more than twice, three times over. And so there is something in the woodworks that we are not aware of, and it is huge, and this is going to happen in real time, and we are going to see it, and it may not be televised like people think, but it is coming. So I'm just saying, you guys, be safe, open your eyes, your ears, learn your surroundings, stay informed, get yourself educated on the laws that may take place because of the disease, and be ready for what's coming. Thank you for listening.